Hey team, this is an updated video for the Prosser Auditorium touch panel. If you watch the last video that we did, you can see it's gotten a little bit bigger, but it's still going to do the same basic thing. When you come in here, it will either be on the screen or it might be on a black screen that displays the time, depending on the last time that the screen was used. If it's on a black screen displaying the time, you'll just touch it to wake it up and get it to this screen. Where you see it tells you to press this button to turn the system on, so that's what I'm going to do. You'll hear a click, that is the equipment in the rack starting to boot up since the system has been turned on using the touch panel. That is a common mistake, if you will, for a lot of student employees. You know, we'll get a call that a microphone isn't working, or they're not getting a video signal or something like that, and it turns out they just didn't turn the system on. You always have to turn it on using the touch panel. You also have this preview monitor up above. So you'll notice around campus, a lot of our touch panels, like the ones in the classrooms, will show you a preview of your video signal on the touch panel itself, but this one isn't set to do that. So we have this separate preview monitor that is manual. You want to turn it on using the power button on the side. There we go. So I have that green indicator light coming on, indicating that screen is powering up and I'm good to go. And from there, it's pretty straightforward. You have your different inputs, so you'll select the one that you're using. The control booth HDMI cable is located right there. So if you are using a laptop up here in the booth, you'll use that cable and select that input to send. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to select the Apple TV AirPlay because that's pretty easy to see. So I will select Apple TV AirPlay and I will send it to the projector. You always have to send your input to the projector. That's what tells the system to send the signal. Now, while that's sending, I can show you what's up here on the preview monitor. So you can see the preview monitor showing me you've selected Apple TV, and that's the signal that I'm going to be sending. Since I sent to the projector, the screen is coming down and the projector is warming up, and you can see it's starting to appear up there, the Apple TV. Now, the reason the preview monitor is so nice is that if you are switching inputs or muting, you always see the signal that it's actually being sent. So here's an example for you. If I were to mute the projector, which is good to do if you are switching inputs or if your end client needs a little bit of privacy as they pull up files, there's nothing on the screen, but I can see on the preview monitor that the Apple TV is being sent. So if I unmute it, it'll come back up on the screen. You also have your volume controls on the touch panel. Now that is for the audio that's being sent from things like your Apple TV or your laptop, your iPad, whatever device you happen to be using. You have two sets here, the control booth speakers. Those volume indicators are for what you hear up here in the booth, and then you have separate controls for the auditorium or what you're hearing in the house. You're always going to want to step into the house and hear what it sounds like out there, because you don't really have a good idea of what it sounds like if you're standing up here in the booth. What you hear coming from the booth speakers in terms of volume level is not the same as what you're hearing in the house, and what you hear in the house is most important. I think that is the most important information that you would need for the touch panel, and covers any issues you might potentially have. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the system off by hitting that turn system off and indicate that yes, I want to turn it off now. You'll see the projector is going to go off, the screen's going to come up. Now, my preview monitor is still on because remember I turned that on manually, so I'm going to have to turn that off. Please remember to turn this off because saving electricity is nice and important. And there you have the touch panel and Prosser Auditorium.